Hey guys, welcome. So, President Trump has declared the mission in Iran accomplished, and that just has them freaking the freak out because, they want to try to get this narrative going that we lost. How we lost, I don't understand, but how liberals are, right? Repeat a lie often enough, people will believe it. That's how Democrats operate. Welcome, everyone. My name is Brian, and this is where MAGA comes to talk. I'm doing my show prep here early in the morning. I've been up doing it for a while and doing my second pass at the news, and we'll see what we come up with as I do that. But I want to go through this first. So, the Associated Press, I love this. I'm going to definitely cover this. My lead story today is the Melania Trump assassin who was arrested on the morning show today. I mean, that's the second plot we've heard this week. Right? Barron earlier, now Melania. So that's going to be my lead story this morning. But listen to this. AP, Trump uses phrase that haunted Bush. Mission accomplished. As he declared, this is AP and the he is Trump they're talking about. As he declares the U.S.-led airstrike against Syria. It's supposed to be Iran. See, they got a typo. They need to accomplish some editing. See, when President Trump posts mission accomplished, it's not just a statement like Bush made for some symbolic, idiotic thing he did, which was land on the aircraft carrier. He posted on True Social, mission accomplished. He has Iran on one side, Bush on one side, and the sign says in front of Bush, mission not accomplished, 01 to 2021. And what he's talking about there is Afghanistan. I mean, I just saw a story just yesterday about how the Taliban were just doing terrible things to the poor people in Afghanistan. 20 years, nothing accomplished in Afghanistan. We left the people in charge after 20 years who were running the country in the first place. And President Trump put mission accomplished with the Ayatollah 2026. See, what they don't want you to get your mind around is that there has been regime change in Iran. The Ayatollah is dead. His son is obviously dead or totally incapacitated. It's been so long now. Probably dead, but certainly injured beyond recovery to return to public life. So who is running Iran now? Right? No one really knows. And they don't have a centralized government in Iran anymore. There's a power struggle between the civilian government and the IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. So there has been regime change by President Trump in Iran. It's just not being identified as that. And not only has there been regime change, the change has resulted in complete chaos. So right there, without saying so by the president, he has accomplished regime change in Iran, right? Would you not agree with that? How could you not? Because he has. Their ability to make a nuclear weapon is gone and will be gone, is gone forever. Their Army, Navy, and Air Force are obliterated. That's it. I mean, it's mission accomplished. They're a country that is a shell of its former self. They are a shell of their former self, and Iran will never recover. They'll never be what they once were. Oh, here's Bovino on with Tucker.
Oh, yeah.
Let me see what he has to say.
Well, everything was different. We finally had hope. You're not getting that now from people
that are actually up
This is
against
Bovino.
illegal immigration, most especially, and this is key here, our young people, those young conservatives. Wow. Now there are a bunch of individuals that are seeing this. I get more comments and more rhetoric from them than anybody I have ever seen. They are not happy. Their future, they understand, is being taken away. It has been taken away. And you know, Tucker, something very powerful here. One of those young conservatives came up to me and said, you know, we've only heard stories of America. We've only heard the story of America.
Wow.
I'm like, what do you mean, the story of America? We are America. There's no story. He goes, we don't know what America is. People like you tell us what America, people like Tucker say, this is what America used to be like. We've only heard the story of America. That was the most powerful thing I've ever heard. Being a Border Patrol agent is this young person that doesn't even know what real America is because it's been taken from them. A lot of it through illegal immigration.
That's right.
And, you know, they better wake up. Some of these people that have betrayed us, some of those gatekeepers that I just talked about, better wake up, because there's a lot of pissed off people out there, especially the young. They did a big part in ensuring that there was somebody in office that would take care of immigration. Very unhappy campers right now, and I don't blame them a bit. They should be unhappy, and they are sharpening spears, dancing around the campfire right now.
Yeah. I don't think anybody's going around telling Bovino that Tucker Carlson tells them what America's all about. Okay, here's the Premier of British Columbia talking about the trade war with the United States.
I'm asking British Columbians, if you have a choice, please don't travel to the United States. I'm asking British Columbians, if you have a choice, please don't travel to the United States. Choose another place to do your tourism.
Yeah.
If you can choose a Canadian product instead of an American one, please choose it. Right now, Canadian workers from coast to coast to coast need our support. With 50% tariffs imposed by the president on many products, by being our own best customer, we can help respond and support Canadians in every corner of this amazing country we call home.
Oh my goodness, pathetic. Bunch of wimps up there. There's no trade war going on with Canada. They're not in the same league as us. They think they are, but they're not. Welcome, everyone. I'm just doing show prep right now, so those of you that are new, welcome. Make sure you subscribe, and everyone please like the video. Just reading this story here. Maine passed a law in 2021 requiring police to use diversion protocols instead of standard arrest procedures for homeless people accused of 5 offenses: criminal trespass, disorderly conduct, public urination, personal drug use, and public drinking. Seems a little strange to me. Liberals, Democrats love the homeless people. That's why they build public libraries for them to live in. Let's see. Welcome, everyone. I won the terrible. Good morning to you. Okay.
There is.
Okay, this is a transgendered person. Let's see what they have to say.
There is no argument I have heard for banning trans children from sports that does not sound like it came from a century ago to justify things like the Negro Leagues and other segregated sports leagues to keep people who are equal separated.
So this dude in a dress is trying to tell you, because you don't want little boys to play in girls' sports, you are essentially recreating racism and segregation.
Yes, that's what he's trying to say, because he's bizarre. I can't believe Tim Curry died the day after. We just overthrew Iran. Just nobody knows it yet. Iran's been overthrown. The Ayatollah's dead. The son's dead. The government's in chaos. Nobody knows who's in charge. We have overthrown Iran. There's been regime change. You just haven't thought about it that way yet, because the media are telling you the opposite's true. Let's see. This is a very frightening and revealing comment from Abdul. He's the Muslim Democrat Socialist that's running for Senate in Michigan. Listen to this.
Our state helped elect a guy, Barack Hussein Obama.
Let me rewind it there.
Our state helped elect a guy, Barack Hussein Obama, to the presidency. And it was the first time I ever saw myself in a politician.
Why did he see himself in Obama? Abdul, who's a Muslim. How did he see himself in Obama? Anyone asking that question?
Barack Hussein Obama to the presidency.
Hmm.
And it was the first time I ever saw myself in a politician. I was like, his dad immigrated from Africa. My dad immigrated from a different part of Africa.
I gotta find a better
He had
clip
mixed
of that.
parents. I was raised.
That is not a very good version of that. Let's see if we can find a better one. He sees himself in Obama. What do they have in common?
Our state helped elect a guy. Our state helped elect a guy, Barack Hussein Obama, to the presidency. And it was the first time I ever saw myself in a politician. I was like, his dad immigrated from Africa. My dad immigrated from a different part of Africa.
Yeah.
Our state helped elect a guy.
Yeah, it's a bad audio from the original, but that's okay. We'll work with what we got. We'll work with what we got there. I'm doing my show prep this morning.
So you better.
This is Ashley Moody, who's the Republican nominee for Senate right here in Florida.
So you better believe with every fiber of my being, as someone who has stood on that line, fought for law enforcement, stood up for our military, fought for our kids and their security and their safety, as someone who pushed back against big government so that our businesses could thrive and prosper without government in the way, I will always, always fight for an America that stands for prosperity and safety on your behalf, and we will win this election to make sure that Florida remains the firewall of freedom for the rest of this country.
Yes, yes, yes. I like her. She's very good. This is the Georgia Secretary of State.
But in Georgia, we're the first state to do citizenship verification. So we did that.
Yeah, talk more about that, because I like Georgia's approach. I've talked about your approach actually to the Texas legislature a couple months ago. Could you talk just a little bit about what you all do for citizenship verification?
First of all, we're really, really fortunate that we are Real ID with driver's license. And right now, that's over 90% of all voters are being registered. Probably it's about over 95% of all voters are being registered through the process of working in conjunction with Department of Driver Services. So when you get your driver's license, what they do is they're going to verify, oh, you weren't born in America.
There you go. Oh, that's perfect.
If you come from another state, we want to see a birth certificate. Oh, you were born in America.
Yeah.
Oh, you weren't born in America. Okay. Now, do you have lawful status? And then also, if you have lawful status, have you become an American? And then prove your citizenship. So Department of Driver Services is doing a lot of heavy lifting for us. We get this information, then we can take that, and then we do our own, check of everything that before we put people in the voter rolls.
Yeah, that makes sense. How can you argue with that? Let's see. Oh, here's DeSantis talking about Antifa.
But the law takes effect on July 1st today, and so we are not going to waste any time. We're going to move forward, and we're going to make sure that we're very robust in doing this. And so based on the recommendations of Florida's domestic security professionals and the authority, the newly established authority in law, my office and the cabinet are poised to officially designate the first slew of terrorist organizations under the new law. That'll be a reaffirmation of my prior executive order for the Muslim Brotherhood and the Council of American Islamic Relations. We will also be adding and ratifying Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization, as well as a number of groups that are affiliated with drug cartels or themselves drug cartels, such as Cartel de Sinaloa.
No, that's good. So Antifa is now a terrorist organization here in Florida. That went into effect July 1st, domestic terrorist organization. Here's Fox reporting on Hassan Piker. Hold on, let me go get some coffee going. I'll be right back. making some coffee, which means just heating it up in the microwave, actually, because it's cold. Okay, here's Fox talking about Hassan Piker.
Abdul al-Sayed has called out anti-Semitism, but his critics say his response to Hassan Piker's comments is notable for what it did not include, which is an explicit denunciation of the streamer. He says anti-Semitism is a scourge and we need to address it in all its forms, and I stand against any rhetoric that puts the community at risk. But I want to be crystal clear. Nobody speaks for this campaign besides me and my campaign spokespeople. Al-Sayed is free.
Oh, he's so butch, Abdul.
I just fired.
Oh, this is great. This is a guy, he fired his nanny because he found out she was supporting Lindsay Clancy. Oh, that's a very smart move, right? Lindsay Clancy's the woman on trial in Massachusetts for killing her 3 children. And she has this cult of psycho women that want her to go free, blaming postpartum depression.
I just fired my nanny. I just fired my nanny. Easiest thing I've ever had to do. Easiest decision I've ever made. Why? Oh, because I was here scrolling on social media, just watching videos and whatnot. And her video popped up. What was her video? Oh, it had that emotional music in the background. She's holding her baby, rocking back and forth. And it said, same, Lindsay, in text across her video. For all of you guys who don't know, people are making these videos to say that they stand in solidarity with Lindsay Clancy, letting them know that they feel her, they understand her. Because Lindsay Clancy took the lives of her 3 children because apparently she had some broke up here, some broken, not firing on all cylinders.
Okay, he's not that bright, but he's smart enough to fire his nanny. It was pretty smart of him.
I just want to make one thing.
Okay, here's a woman supporting Lindsay Clancy. Let's hear what she has to say.
I just want to make one thing incredibly clear. No guilty verdict, no non-guilty by reason of insanity, and no manslaughter charge will ever make me believe that Lindsay Clancy killed her children.
Oh my goodness.
So when
She confessed, by the way.
this verdict gets read, you guys can come back to me and be like, oh, this is the proof, this is the proof. No, it's not. This is the proof of injustice. This is a proof of a corrupt system. This is proof of coercion. I, as well as 80% of other people, know she did not do this. Nothing will ever
Then why she confess?
be changing my mind, and I will forever say that Lindsay Clancy is fully 100% non-responsible and innocent. You can come back to my page, and I'm still going to answer you the same way I've answered you this entire time. She is not guilty.
All right, whatever. Psycho. Okay, here's the Attorney General of Michigan, who, by the way, is a Democrat, and she's talking about Abdul, the Muslim Democrat running for Senate.
Victory. So I had to spend a lot of time working with those groups. It took 4 months for the UAW to finally endorse me. So I think there's the understanding that in especially a very close race like the one that Abdul had with Haley Stevens, he only won by some, I want to say 14,000 votes. And we had a heavy turnout for this primary. So I think it's only natural to expect that the winner is going to have to talk to those who supported his opponent. But for Jewish Michiganders, this is not just a regular, we're arguing about what our tax rate should be, this is something that, again, is so personal to Michigan Jews. And I think it's important. I think that Abdul understands this could be a very close race. And, yes, we have, I think, one of the highest Arab American populations anywhere outside of the Middle East here in the state of Michigan. But
Well, let me get my coffee. We'll be back and hear the rest. And you got to remember, she's a Democrat who's speaking out against the Democrat nominee for the Senate. So that is very unusual. I've never heard Democrats speak out against a Democrat like that. Not when they're running for office. They already won the primary. And we're in campaign season. That is very new and unique.
we also have a pretty sizable Jewish population in Michigan. And the thing I will say about, Jewish voters in Michigan, they are primarily Democratic. They are, about 75 to 80% consider ourselves Democrats or routinely vote for Democrats on the ticket. So this is not nothing. But for a lot of, and I will speak on behalf of Michigan Jews, we have some deep concerns, and we don't want to have to choose between the future of the state of Israel and Israel potentially not existing anymore, even though most of us are highly, highly, highly critical of the current government, highly critical of Benjamin Netanyahu.
Okay, she's being a big fence sitter, but we'll talk about that. She's attacking him. She's calling him out, but she's afraid, so she's fence sitting for sure. Oh, here's a clip of ABC News trying to get Dolly Parton to criticize President Trump.
We have a president of the United States who said those things on that bus.
I'm not addressing that. I do not get into that. Of course, I have my opinion about everybody and everything. But I learned a long time ago, keep your damn mouth shut if you want to stay in show business. I'm not in politics. I'm an entertainer.
Well, she's smart, isn't she? You got to love Dolly Parton. That's why everybody loves her. Very smart. She was a smart woman, Dolly Parton. If you're new, welcome. Make sure you subscribe. You know what I was talking about? I'm doing show prep right now, if you're wondering. I'm doing my early morning show prep, reading through all the stories of the day. This is my second round. I did my show prep already, got the live stream set up and everything for the morning show, but then I always go back through the news right up until I go on the air, just in case something new breaks. But what I was talking about at the beginning of this stream is what people don't realize, because it hasn't been presented that way, but President Trump has given us regime change in Iran. The Ayatollah is dead. His son is either dead or just beyond recovery because we haven't seen him. There's no clear leader in Iran. There's infighting among the civilian leadership and the IRGC. There's been regime change in Iran. It's absolutely amazing. Okay, here's Peter Navarro talking about Canada.
Why are we in a trade war with Canada today?
Because Canada basically screws America, and they've been doing it for a very, very long time, dating back to the 1990s. Just as a little background, I actually...
Yeah, that's true. That's good. Good answer, Peter Navarro. Very good answer. I see this story here. This is ridiculous. Why young men are done with Mike Pence conservatism. Is that a thing? What is this thing they've come up with? Is he trying to set up some new PAC? What is Mike Pence conservatism? I'll read that article later, maybe, on the air. Okay, here's CNN interviewing a guy who says he's a Republican and he's going to vote for Tallarico and the Democrat, whose name is Hinojosa, instead of Ken Paxton and Greg Abbott in Texas. Let's see.
But what got me angry, first of all, was the incessant noise coming from these people, the incessant lying. They're not good neighbors. They're damaging people. The Republican Party in this state doesn't care. We've been fighting this for 3 years, and we realized that the Republican Party has given us nothing more than the middle finger. I have been a staunch Republican my entire life. I'm done. Anyone that was in office during this mess that hasn't supported us, it's not going to get my vote. And amazingly, we've had 2 Democrats, one absolute running for Congress and one running for governor, that were willing to come out and listen to us. Not the Republicans, the Democrats. And it's really changed my thinking. And this is...
So now he supports transgender in sports and abortion on demand, erase the southern border between Texas and Mexico. DEI, high taxation. Give me a break. I'm going to call BS. I'm going to play that for sure. I'm going to call total BS on that.
Why do
Yeah, I've got a lot of good topics to cover today. Kamala can't be pregnant. First off, she's too old and she drinks too much alcohol. It's not safe for a baby. Drinking a box of wine every day. Plus, she's too old. All these poor sad stories about Dolly Parton. Everybody loved Dolly Parton. No doubt about it. There's so few people that have this bipartisan position like Dolly Parton, right? And she's been famous forever. I mean, I don't ever remember a moment in time when Dolly Parton was not famous. Since I've been alive. But yeah, my lead story today, I'm just doing some more show prep, guys, so if you're just tuning in. My lead story today is going to be on this Melania Trump assassin that was arrested. We're going to cover that. Second, Trump family member assassination plot this week. We had Barron earlier this week. I'm going to get into some detail on, after that, I'm going to get into the regime change that President Trump has brought to Iran. President Trump has declared mission accomplished in Iran, which he has. And also there has been regime change, so I'm going to cover that. There's been major regime change in Iran. Right? The Ayatollah's dead, his son's dead or incapacitated beyond recovery. It's regime change in Iran. That's it. So, and I got a lot of other things I'm covering too, but I'm just going through the news. I'm always going through the news right up until showtime. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. My name is Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. And if everyone could like the video, I'd appreciate it. Yeah, I'm on my back porch here doing show. The weather is beautiful in Florida. Poor Tim Curry. Yeah, that's a good one, Cindy. That was, yeah, Ron DeSantis has passed a law requiring schools to teach the truth about communism and socialism, about how evil, deadly, and corrupt it is. That's great. From middle school all the way through high school graduation. And what was this guy doing with the guillotine on his way to the Capitol? You think that guy, the Republicans control Congress. And the guy was from California. Of course he's a Democrat. Of course he's a Democrat. Everybody knows this. They may not identify him that in the CNN article, but he is. And I don't get this thing with the flock cam. We've had the flock cameras. We've had traffic cameras for many, many years. I got a ticket once with one, which I'm not a big fan of those either, but you know, but how many if you watch ID true crime shows, these flock cameras and cameras that are everywhere save so many lives and bring so many evil people to justice. Too much is made of these flock cameras. I definitely want to talk about that on the show today. People get upset. They're obsessed over flock cameras and data centers, and they don't even know why. They don't even know why. Someone told them to be upset about it. People get upset. They're obsessed over flock. No, the volume's fine. You got to turn up the volume on your device. Hello, baby. Volume's fine. I just checked. So you can hear it right here. Someone told them to be upset about it. Right? People get upset. They're obsessed over flock. No, the volume's fine. You got it. There you go. See, it's fine. Turn up the volume on your device. Mm-hmm. Is it true special forces have been drafted to help Trump? Well, they should have special forces guarding the entire first family. Mm-hmm. With everything that's going on. Here's the Hoover Institute. Who is really running Iran? Exactly. There has been regime change in Iran, right? Hey, Pepsi, what's up? One of my cats, Pepsi.
This one, okay.
Oh, here's a great one. This is CNN.
This one, okay. The president Republicans most admire. It's Donald Trump. This is a historic comparison. A majority of Republicans say, 53% say he's the Republican president they most admire. Ronald Reagan, who traditionally has won that much, Donald Trump nearly triples up on this. Reagan at just 18%. And then Abraham Lincoln, who by most historic accounts is the greatest president of all time. But Republicans say that the president that they most admire by, what is this? This is 6-7 times as many. Donald John Trump at 53%, easily crushing Abe Lincoln at 8%. And the Elon poll showed that he was the greatest president as well, Donald.
I feel like this line might end up on a printout on his desk.
Exactly. That's a good one. The most admired president. Isn't that something? Donald Trump. That's his name. That's right. Now the liberals are now calling CNN fake news. Don't you love it? You gotta love it, don't you? You gotta love it. They don't get the news they want, so all of a sudden CNN is fake news. That's how the Democrats roll. They don't like something, it's fake. It's fake news when it's inconvenient to them. CNN is the liberal news outlet of record. That is very true. Well, Rush Limbaugh had a great phrase that applies to CNN. An accident, when CNN every once in a while will get a story right like that one, it's called, what Rush would call it is, an accidental case of journalism. So I think that's one of those accidental cases of journalism over at CNN, right? Exactly. It's exactly what it is. But there's no question that we have regime change in Iran, right? We have the Ayatollah dead, his son dead or beyond recovery. There's no clear leader. The civilian and the military government are fighting one another. That is regime change in Iran. Without a single boot on the ground, except for that rescue op. That's it. I don't see how anyone could disagree with that. Makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Absolutely it does. Yes or no, would you consider that regime change? The Ayatollah dead, the son dead or incapacitated, no clear leader, the civilian government is in a civil war with the IRGC. Is that not regime change? What else would you refer to as regime change? That's regime change. Without question. They're lower than they were with Biden. If that's not regime change, what is it? What would you call it if it's not regime change? No, they're not in control. They're dead. The family's not in control. That's the whole thing. The Ayatollah's dead. His son's dead. That's correct. A non-theocracy would be regime change, and that's what you have. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. What's happened is we have regime change in Iran. That's what's happened. There's no other way to look at it. Regime change has happened in Iran. Pretty obvious. How is it not regime change? It's regime change. You may not want to accept it as that, but it's regime change. No question. Mm-hmm. Okay. My cats are having a great time. Coca-Cola, Pepsi. If that's not regime change, I don't know what would be regime change. They're no longer a theocracy. The religious leader's dead. His son is dead, right? So what do they got? They got nothing. They got nothing left. Here's another deranged woman defending Lindsay Clancy, who killed her kids.
By standing for Lindsay, we are also standing for those 3 children.
Oh my goodness.
You're saying this because you are
She sounds
assuming
drunk.
that Lindsay is guilty. I don't think that Lindsay did it at all. I really hope that there is justice for those children, and I believe by standing for Lindsay, we are also standing for those 3 children. You're saying this because you are assuming that Lindsay is guilty. I don't think that Lindsay did it at all. I really hope that there is justice for those children, and I believe that Lindsay will be found not guilty. There are so many things that are in line with the fact that Lindsay didn't do this, and if you were watching the trial, you would see that. All of these expert witnesses that are getting on the stand and stuff. Well, Patrick told us this, Patrick told us that. That's what I've heard all of them say, that a man that was the only one that was of sound mind and everything when the police showed up to that house.
A man.
With 3 dead children and a woman that was just about dead. And they took his word for everything. Anybody watching this trial can see that
She confessed too. You know, they got Lindsay Clancy confessed.
the prosecution did not show beyond a reasonable doubt that Lindsay did this. So when I stand with Lindsay, I am also standing for those children. Absolutely. Of course, we're standing for those children. They didn't deserve that. And I hope when the jury does come back and finds that Lindsay is not guilty, that they actually do a proper investigation and figure out who did do this.
It's possible they don't get a guilty verdict. It really is. It just takes one to get a hung jury. And this is Massachusetts, right? They're nuts there. It's very possible. The jury's not sequestered. They see everything that's going on. Oh, I love this one.
So this is Lake Ontario in Canada and in the United States.
but we're going to make a little change. We're going to call it something different than Lake Ontario. We're going to call it Lake America. And all it takes is a good pen and some intelligence. So Lake Ontario.
A good pen and some intelligence.
Lake America.
Yeah.
So now we have a lake, and now we have a Gulf. Because we have the Gulf of America, and now we have Lake America, without the of. Thank you very much, everybody.
Yes. What a great guy, isn't he? What a great president we have. The greatest president ever. Here's Abdul with Jesse Waters on Fox.
So getting rid of Sharia law is white supremacy. Can you explain that one?
Do you know what canon law is? Jesse, I assume you're Christian, right?
Yeah, tell me.
All right, so canon law is the name for Christian law. I don't begrudge you your right to practice your faith as you choose. I don't know why the idea that I could practice my faith as I choose is a problem. Nobody is trying to push Sharia law on anyone else, just like I hope nobody is trying to push canon law on anybody else, because we live in an America where you should have the freedom of your religion. So the idea that you have somebody like Tommy Tuberville, right, who, you know, barely was good at coaching football, is out here trying to ban Sharia law when there's less than 1% of the Muslim community in America, as if somehow Muslims are out here trying to push Sharia law, that seems to me to be deliberately targeting the Muslim community because they're different. And I'm just saying that, like, I have no issue with people practicing their faith. In fact, I would never want somebody to push their faith on me, and I would never want to push my faith on somebody else.
Good, because no one wants you to get rid of your religion.
And so the idea,
no one wants that.
No, okay. I'm not going to play that. He's not saying much there. A lot of words, not saying much. Minnesota Democrats vote not to remove dead voters from the voters' rolls. Why would they not want the dead removed from the voter rolls? Does that make any sense? No, canon law, first off, is Catholic. Okay, I'm Catholic, but canon law is from the Catholic Church. It shows that he's not an American in his heart and mind, that he doesn't understand. No Christian, no Catholic is even thinking that the church should be running the country. And Christians don't live their life according to canon law. Most Catholics don't even do that. We run it by American law. Okay, well, maybe I'll run it. Yeah, I'll make a good point. You make some good points. So you're helping me with my show prep. Who gave that to me? Let me give the credit to that person. Cindy Rose. I wasn't gonna do that because that was, but I'll cover that story today if I have time. So you're helping me with the show prep, guys. This is how it happens. I was gonna not cover that story, and now I am. Okay, here's a woman who is running for governor in New Mexico? What? Yeah, come on. Yeah.
Digging deeper into that mass shooting in Austin, Texas with some brand new information. I had mentioned before, 3 people killed. Fox confirmed the shooter who police killed was a naturalized citizen from Senegal. Sources are now telling Fox the shooter was wearing clothing that said Allah on it, and he had on an undershirt with an Iranian flag on it.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Yeah, that was back in May, but they've covered they covered that story up. Here's Sebastian Gorka. He always makes sense.
We are not a Christian nation in terms of you have to be a Christian.
but our values are Christian and Judeo-Christian values. That is the truth of who we are.
That's true. Sebastian Gorka, he's always good.
In my comment.
Okay, here's another crazy lady talking about Lindsay Clancy. She's covered in tattoos, and she says she's guilty. I'm in shock. Her body's covered in tattoos. She looks pretty liberal. She's got tattoos on her neck.
In my comments, if you believe that Lindsay Clancy is indeed guilty of unaliving her children, I want you to convince me in the comments.
Oh no, okay. She does. She thinks Lindsay Clancy didn't do it, even though Lindsay Clancy confessed to doing it.
In my comments, if you believe that Lindsay Clancy is indeed guilty of unaliving her children, I want you to convince me in the comments. Everything I have seen, I am not convinced that she even committed this crime. I think there would be more prints. I think that she wouldn't have had so many DRUGS in her system. How does someone that incapacitated even do this act? Nothing really adds up for me, guys. I really am having a hard time believing that she did this, and maybe it's just the way I am, my nature of wanting to see the good in people. Just please, in the comments, give me all of your evidence besides the fact that her husband said she did it. I'm still really weirded out.
She said she did it. She confessed.
About the fact that he is not also a suspect in this case. Why did he have all that stuff in his trunk? He's the one that had access to all those drugs in her system. Everything just does not make sense. So please, let's start a conversation. Let's be kind. No fighting in my comments, okay? Open up the gates.
No, not going to share that. Not much said there. Just another nut. It's not too early. Got to get up early to prepare for a show. All right, guys, I want to take off, finish getting ready here, and I'll see you in a bit. If you're new, my name is Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe. Click the like button. If you haven't done it already, please like the video. That helps a lot. This has just been my show prep session, and you'll see me in the studio taking live calls a little later. All right? Take care. Thanks for tuning in.